So a little FYI for you when you're doing this. Now again, you'll notice that we have the spec and color maps automatically applied. We don't have the normal map and displacement map automatically applied. So we'll have to create an image node for this. So let's right click, new shader, texture map. Alrighty, let's expand this side out and let's load up the displacement map. So let's point our browser here to it. And there it is, creature UV displacement map.tiff. Okay, and it will load up here, and you'll see there's our displacement map. We need to change the map type to UV. Let's go ahead and remap it from -1 to 1 because we want it to not just extrude, we want it to indent the mesh. Alrighty, now that we've done that, we must plug the color into the bump. And now we'll need to actually do a couple more things. Let's hit tab to turn on subdivision surfaces. Now let's go to the output node here, and we must turn on the bump. So let's turn on the bump to something like 0.2. And that's actually probably too high, but we'll figure it out as we go along here. Now we must go back to the surfaces tab and actually go to the material here for the creature. And you'll see a tab down here, displacement, appearances. Let's turn up the max displacement to 1, and just for this video, let's turn up the sub D level to 8. Sometimes you might want to go higher, sometimes lower, really depends on what you need. Okay, so if we do an F9, it'll render, and you can see it's displaced way too much. That looks a little creepy actually. That's cool. Alright, so what we'll need to do is go back to the materials tab and let's adjust the bump level. So let's try 0.02. Let's do another F9. And you can see it's displaced a little less, but still too much. So let's change this to 0.002. Let's do another F9. That's about right. 0.002 looks good for this object. We could probably go a little higher, methinks. Let's try 0.003. What the heck? We'll go a smidge higher. 0.004. F9 again. I like where that's at. That looks okay. So that's all there really is to it. Now I do want to point out one other thing. We can actually use Photoshop in this whole mix as well, which makes it actually quite powerful. So if we tick micro vertex painting again, let's do that, then go back to 3D code, we'll get the prompt here, merge or new. We can merge the object we're trying to send over into the scene, so we'll have two of these creatures, which we don't want. We can open up a new scene, which will just replace the object we currently have, and since it's the same one anyway, it doesn't really matter. So if we hit cancel, we'll keep the same object here, the exact same one, with all of our layers. So something to note on that, if you actually do create a new scene or merge, it will compound all of your layers into one. If you want to keep your painted layers or your paint layers, always hit cancel there. Okay, now that we've done this, we can actually do something a little more interesting. Let's go to Photoshop. In fact, let's create a new layer while we're at it. So now let's send it to Photoshop. Go up to View. Where are you? Actually, I'm sorry, it's under Edit. And let's edit projection in External Editor. We don't want it to project through, but we do want symmetry turned on. So let's turn on symmetry across the x-axis. Alrighty. Now go back up to Edit and Edit projections in External Editor. So let's tick that. And it should open up in Photoshop shortly here. Might take a moment, or 2, or 3. Okay, so Photoshop's open, and now we can actually do something here in Photoshop. So let's go with the brush tool, and let's change our brush size here. In fact, let's change our brush type to something a little softer. It looks like I'm using the pencil. Let's change to the brush tool. There we are. Let's change our diameter here, and how about our color? Let's go with something that will be in stark contrast to what we have on the creature currently. Maybe some yellow spots, eh? There we go. Let's kind of dull it down a bit. There we go. Something like this will do. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's just do some. I better turn down the opacity here. Okay, let's just put in some yellow highlights. Oops, I'm painting on the light map. Don't ever do that. So let's back up. Let's paint on layer 3. That's what we want to do. Let's just put in some splotches here. Some yellow splotches. Okay. I think this is going to look alright. Let's turn up the opacity. And we'll put in some more highlights onto these areas we just did. Okay. I think that's going to be alright. Okay, so now if we hit Control S to save that texture, or projection really, and then Alt Tab, or just go back to 3D Coat, it will automatically reload the work we've just done. Of course that takes a moment to reload, and you'll see here, now that we have that, and unfortunately symmetry is not applied, but I think that's going to work just fine. Looks like 3D Coat's giving me a little trouble here. There we are. So that'll do just fine.